All right, Metallicave back here, craniumradio.com with our metal friends and our metal family, hanging out with the best people in the world in the chat room and the best people in the world that are tuned in. Thank you so much. It really is an honor and privilege. I hope you liked the Metallica block. That was kind of cool. We did the Four Horsemen and the Mechanics done by Metallica, only a handful of times, followed up by one with Lang Lang from Beijing. So that was kind of cool. I enjoyed that from 2017. And cool, man. I like to play that rare, obscure shit. But now on the line, we have the opportunity and the pleasure to talk to a good friend of mine, and he is coming out with a brand new, his third solo release, Mr. Mike LePond of Mike LePonds Silent Assassins. Mike, what is up, my friend?
Joey, it's so good to be here. You're the best. You're the best supporter of heavy metal that I know, and it's an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you, man. And you know what? As you are too, man. You've done so much here in the local metal community when it comes to supporting and also being in a handful of bands too that are here locally. You are the man, man. I mean, everybody knows Mike LePond around here, and I think Jersey is lucky to have you, pal.
I really appreciate that. You know, you can never forget where you come from, and you always got to give back.
Yeah, man, I agree 100%, and you do that, man, and it's great, and it's great to have you back on the show. So you have your third album coming out. What's the name of the third album, man?
Well, you and your audience are going to be the first people to hear the name of the album.
Holy shit!
The third, yeah. The third album from Mike LePonds Silent Assassins will be called Whore of Babylon.
Holy shit!
And it will be released on May 29th. And tomorrow, the first single will be released on video. It will be a lyric video, and there will be pre-order information for the album. So I'm really excited. It took me literally a year and a half to record and finally get to this point. So, you know, it's like when you finally get to the point where it's finally going to be heard, it just feels so good. And all that time that, you know, that you're frustrated, you want people to hear it, it's all worth it.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And I mean, explain to the listeners out there. I mean, it's not that you just sit home and you're just playing the bass all the time, because you're in Symphony X, right? I mean, you're going to be touring with these guys. You're in Ross the Boss. It's like you're rarely you're always on the road, right?
Yeah, I'm on the road so much. You know, Symphony X is making records and touring, and Ross the Boss is constantly on tour. I mean, he's like a machine, and he's making records. He's going on the road. You know, I'm not home all that much, but, you know, there's a part of me that needs to show fans of mine and friends of mine where I come from in a heavy metal sense. You know, I grew up listening to classic heavy metal, and I've got so much of it in my soul that it just keeps coming out. And, you know, and the songs just keep pouring out, and the albums just keep pouring out. So the Silent Assassins band is just a total labor of love, and I don't mind how long it takes, even though it's frustrating. You want the fans to hear what you're doing, but I love what I'm doing. I love true heavy metal, and it's an honor to bring the music to the fans, and I want these fans to feel the same thing that I felt when I first listened to the Kill 'Em All record. That, oh my God, what is this feeling? And you just start headbanging out of control. That's what I want to give to, I want to take the torch and continue the run.
Oh my God, yes. Yes, that, I mean, and I could tell your first two albums are just they are fantastic, and they have that classic feel. You know, they've got the classic feel, and it just brings you back to the golden days of metal, which were the 80s, mid-80s, early 90s, correct?
Yes, I totally agree. I believe that those were the classic days of heavy metal, and bands were just, they had their own sound, you know, and it was just before the record companies start grabbing bands and making cookie cutter bands out of them, you know?
Yeah.
There were so many great ones, and I just want to take that feel and continue it, you know, because I think a lot of it has gotten lost. I think a lot of these albums these days, they just sound too perfect, and there's not enough of that guitar riff in there. Sometimes the keyboards are just too loud. You know, you've got to have, the essence of heavy metal is you got to first hear that riff, and it's got to get your head banging, and then you got to hear that singer come in, and you want to sing along, and you want to close the door to your room, and you want to bang your head.
I think you've done that.
I've done that a time or two, yes.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're a fan of the early Judas Priest and bands like that. I mean, so you grew up with that, as did I. You know, so I mean, and your first two albums, like I said, are very similar to that feel. I mean, there's very few bands out there that do that today. You know?
Yeah, I honestly believe that. So I think you know, there's a great demand for it out there, and you know, I'm happy to bring it to the fans. You know, because you and I were, you know, we lived through that time, and we experienced what it felt to listen to these great bands during the 80s and the early 90s, and you know, I just want to bring it. I just want to keep it going. You know, I don't want it ever to die. I don't want people to ever not hear that a classic heavy metal riff. You know, so you know, it's a labor of love, and I love doing it, and I have no plans of stopping.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And you are a busy man, and I could tell just with the passion. Every time you're here in the cave or when I see you at a show, the passion is always, I could see the flame in your eye, man. It's there. And yeah, man, I mean, and to do this album and write the lyrics, and you write, I mean, explain to the listeners, you don't just write the bass line, you write everything, correct?
Yes, I write, literally I write everything. I write all the music, I write all the lyrics, I write the vocal melodies.
Wow.
And when it's recorded, I play bass, I play rhythm guitar, I play acoustic guitar, I do backing vocals, and I just try to do as much as I possibly can, you know. So, and you know, it's tedious, and you know, you want everything to be right. So, you know, you get nervous, you want it to sound right, but you know, but in the end, I just love doing it, because when you finally get to that point, like tonight, when you're finally going to let people hear what it is after a year and a half, you know, it's just so satisfying, and I can't wait to hear the reactions to the new album.
They're going to be good. They're going to be good. Like I told you off air. I mean, when I first heard this track, I'm like, this is exactly Mike LePonds Silent Assassins, because you continue with the same music. It's just like it's one huge trilogy to me. You know what I'm saying? It really is.
Yeah, you know, it's the songs I write, I always try to keep the core the same. You know, I mean, each song will have its own kind of flavors here and there, but the core is going to be the same. There's not going to be anything different. I'm not going to try to, change the style of the band. it's classic heavy metal. It's all my influences coming through in different ways. And, we could go through every song on every album, and I could say, I got that influence from this band and that band, and
wow.
And it's and it's awesome and it's fun, and just to see people react to your music is so satisfying, and just to carry the torch of heavy metal, I feel like I have a duty to do that.
Yeah, man. Well, I totally hear what you're saying, man. And I give you props to that, because I know a lot of work went into this album, and you do pour your heart and soul into what you do. You can tell from the music itself. The quality is bar none. I mean, it's fantastic. The guitar work is fantastic. I mean, who would have known that you are such a amazing guitar player besides bassist? It's fantastic. It really is. To just listen to the album and to think in my head that you're playing all the instruments besides the drums, and it's just like, holy shit, like, you are very talented, and I give you props for that. I mean, I've tried to do it a bunch of times. It doesn't sound 199th% of what you do.
Thank you, man. As far as the bass playing part, obviously that's my main instrument. I think I really stepped up learning the guitar when I was doing these solo albums, because if I didn't, I would have to teach somebody else all the parts.
Right.
And that would have been, a big tedious thing, to teach someone every single part. And this way, I could just play all the rhythms myself, and it gets done, and I could hear it the way I want to hear it. So, so that makes it easy. I recorded this album, like the other two, at my guitar player from Symphony X's studio, Michael Romeo.
Very cool.
And he's incredibly talented individual. So the recordings out of that studio are always killer. So I've been working with the same people really on all the albums. So I worked with Michael Romeo recording it. It was mixed by Eric Rachel,
Very cool.
and he did the first two also. And I love what he does, because you could really hear every instrument. And,
yeah, you really could. I mean, it's fantastic. It's so clear. The quality, the mastering, it's really A1, man. Really, it's amazing.
I appreciate it, and so the plan is we're going to do 3 lyric videos, and then finally release the record on the 29th.
Well, congratulations, man. It really is. I mean, all the things that you do, again, for the local scene and the metal scene and whole, and now you're coming out with your 3rd solo album on top of everything else. And on top of all this, you bought a new house, man. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's been tough, As soon as I bought the house, the virus thing hit.
Oh, Jesus,
and,
yes.
And then all the tours get postponed. So it's like, but you know what? We're all going to get through this.
Yes.
And you know what? Heavy metal will get us through all of this. It'll put us all in a great mood, and we're going to continue to listen to heavy metal and rally around heavy metal, and that's going to be our saving grace.
I agree 100%, man. And, I'm sitting here, like, during the day, I was doing my work, and then lunchtime came around, and I'm like, you know what, man? There's so many people that are working from home now, and there's curfews in so many states and all over the world. I said, you know what? I mean, there's no one here physically in the cave tonight, but I said, you know what? It's always fun getting together with your metal family. So when I promoted my show tonight, I promoted it as that. I mean, you're not doing anything. Tune the hell in. Check out the new Mike LePonds Silent Assassin tune. And you know what? The chat room is packed. The listeners are tuned in from all over the world, man, and it's a great feeling to know that just because the world may be a little bit crazy right now, there's always sanity with heavy metal. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I love doing it, especially tonight. You know?
Absolutely, absolutely. You might physically be alone there, but you know what? We're all here with you. We all support you. We all know how valuable you are to heavy metal. And everybody in that chat room, you know what? We're all together. We're one world. And we're all going to get past this.
Yep.
And we're going to continue to, and then the tours will start again, and everything will happen again. But until then, we're going to hunker down with our music, and we're going to get through it.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. But listen, I'm psyched for everybody to hear the song. The name of the song is called. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing it. Dracul Sun. Is that correct?
Yes, Dracul. Yes, Dracul Sun, and the lyrics are about Vlad the Impaler. And you know, for those people in the chat room who are interested in that, you can Google him. During the Renaissance, he was from Romania. He was a king in Romania, and he did some pretty bloody things. Even though actually he's known as a hero to this day, but he was a really bloody ruler, and he did what he had to do to save his people. But it's really, really it's a big interest of me. I've always been interested in the story of Vlad Dracula, and
yep.
Actually, that's where the Dracula myth comes from.
Oh.
Vlad the Impaler.
That is cool, man. That is really cool. And we're going to hear a song about it, and it's brand new. And dude, I'm so glad that you called in tonight. It would have been great to have you here, but I'm glad you called in. I mean, people need to hear this stuff. And again, thank you for doing what you do for the metal scene. Thank you for working on this new album and having your third album come out. It's so cool to have you part of the Metallicave family and the metal family from all over the world, man. You are literally, you're awesome, man. You're a great guy. And Teddy Bates says hi.
I know, Teddy. You're finally going to get to hear the song. You know, Teddy's been wanting to hear the song for so long, but the files I have at home were kind of too big to send over, email. So I told him, just tune into the Metallicave, and you're going to hear it.
Well, here we go. Hey, do you want to intro it, and then we'll go right into it?
Sure, I'll give it an intro.
Go for it.
Sure. Everybody who's listening to the Metallicave right now, this is the first single from Mike LePonds Silent Assassins. It's called Dracul Sun, and it's about Vlad the Impaler. Real fast and furious heavy metal song, pure heavy metal, true heavy metal. And the album will be called Whore of Babylon, coming out May 29th. You'll be able to see this video tomorrow with pre-order information. So I hope you like it, and I hope you buy the record, and enjoy.
Thank you, Mike. And I will see you soon on the Metallicave, craniumradio.com.
New metal on DJ JD's Metallicave.
Hey everybody, this is DJ JD of the Metallicave. I'm inviting you to join me and our metal family every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for 3 hours of the best metal in the world. New metal, classic metal, and we pride ourselves on the underground unsigned bands. So join me every Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here on Cranium Radio. I hope to see ya, and thanks for tuning in.
Live. You're tuned in to the internet's #1 heavy metal radio show. Press play. Hot enough to melt your speakers.